How's it going, guys? Welcome to the Bigfoot Researchers Journal. Hey, we've got a class coming up this Sunday. That's the day after tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, beginning Bigfoot research. We're going to show you everything you need to know to get started in the field documenting these creatures on your own. That's 10 a.m. this Sunday via Zoom. The sign up is in this video's description.
Welcome to the Bigfoot Researchers Journal. Today we are looking at what most people will never understand is watching them. Monster Sasquatch. Stick around, it's going to be a great episode of the Bigfoot Researchers Journal. Oh, we got a skunk ape too.
The reality of the creatures is that you can't see they're there. Right, so here's a typical shot. What I'm going to do is readjust the exposure to exactly what it was. This is the shot. That's all it was, and I just added a little bit of exposure to it. The reason is we want to aid ourselves in seeing this. Okay, we've got an individual here outlined, and there's something going on here. Got either fingers coming up where the mouth is, and we've got proportionate fingers. It's important to note that there are proportionate fingers coming up, right? Proportionate to the size of the face. So you can see the line slightly, right? But what we do is we go in and we adjust the exposure. So what we're going to do is put a little contrast in the shot and just make a few minor adjustments so that we can get a better look. And look, we can see there appear to be fingers now. And there's a mouth line here. We've got what appears to be some sunlight shining through here, just a little bit. We can see that the sun is plainly hitting. They're inside a canopy and different parts of the canopy. There's a creature back here that we broke down earlier. And there's some interesting frames here where it appears that possibly some teeth are showing. It's a strange thing to observe on film. This is the first time I've ever observed anything like this in any of our research areas, and I've historically heard descriptions from eyewitnesses. But this is this is the description that haunts us here in South Florida, and he's either holding this stick as there's some impression that there's a tree there or something. I don't know if it's cover or whatever, but he's in the saw meadows, and he is definitely standing there. You can see him plainly, and moving through some of these frames as this renders and it comes out, you're going to be able to see this guy really good. But let's take a look at a few frames. As you can see, we're looking at that really light skin, right? And on this side, it's in the shade of whatever this is, and it's casting a shadow on part of this face. At times, you can see there's a little sunlight catching on whatever this is. There's just this little bit of sunlight that hits the brow occasionally, and as we see when we go through here, that brow starts to lighten up a little bit because some of this light is catching it, or some of this light is possibly hitting it. But you can see his nostril right here, and these are the brows, so the eyes are right under it. And this is that same individual we were just looking at in this particular series, where we got back in here and you can plainly identify that what eyewitnesses describe. A skunk ape is like, behind this branch here. But they're, like I said, they're under a canopy, and what a great shot. I mean, you can see the fingers. This is clear footage of a skunk ape. All we have to do is uncrop it, and guess what? No skunk ape. This is what people see hiking, period. Where's the skunk ape? Point him out for me as you're hiking. Right. So what we're doing is we're taking a closer look at the metadata of what's really there when we hike through these certain areas in South Florida. These patterns develop, and you start seeing what appears to be cover that's been thrown in certain areas. See, gravity works one way, man. And when cover completely defies gravity in these areas in here, as you can see, they're all clustered up, and we can adjust crop on this as well. And let's just take a look at some of this strange branch. I mean, we got, here he is over here hiding, first of all. That's his face. His whole head's right here. We'll zoom in a little bit more so we can see that that's where he's at. We'll take a look at it. The area around them is strange. Here he is. There's his mouth line right there. We got that little bit of sun coming up his face. Now, his skin is very light. The bushes are transmitting light that we can't see. It's broadcasting onto his face, and he's changing colors in real time. As the sun goes behind clouds, I mean, these guys are blending in with the environment to a degree in real time, that as the canopy shifts in color, they shift with it. So you don't recognize any of the depth of the physical traits of the creature. You're not going to see him from 60 yards away. He's blending in. So what we have to do is we have to shoot the appropriate areas to begin to identify that the subjects are indeed there with post field editing and zooming on photo and examining it frame by frame. And when we get in, we see frame by frame, we start looking at these frames, and now we've got some questions, buddy. So the next time we go hiking there, and we know where this spot is, right? We were there. I can tell you exactly where this place is on the trail. And I know one thing about what we study is they got nowhere to go, man. So we'll see you again soon, Mr. Skunk Ape. And whatever this guy is, we're going to take a look at him right now. Check this out. You want to see this. It's incredible. But that's your Florida skunk ape right there, man. Alrighty, guys. Welcome to the editor. We are looking at some really incredible footage of a wild man with the sun coming through the canopy on his face. We got bright spots, right? This is actually the color of his skin. He's blending with the environment, his white skin. And these shafts of light are showing you his actual colors and possibly something above him. Not sure what that is. Could be a leaf, too, hanging in his face, that little vine. But he's behind it. And then this is definitely sunlight. You can catch his lip right there. But you can see his eyes perfectly. Huge wild man in here. And there appears to be this hybrid type of skunk ape type over here. So we have what looks like has been described many times, the Sasquatch kind of encounter thing, only with the white skin. And then this one here obviously has lighter skin. You can see the brow ridges. And we're just going to take a look through some of these frames and look at how it changes through here. And you can get a look at a couple of these individuals real quick. This guy right here, you can see his nose is changing. We've got the bridge of the brow right here, and the sun coming through. This vine hanging here, or is this another creature? I'm not sure, but you can see the hair off of this creature right here. It comes right through here, and it's actually the color of the bushes around it, picking up those tones, which is incredible. But as we move through here, and we start looking at some of these other frames, this individual is coming out really clearly. And again, all we did was highlight and adjust the exposure so that we could pull some of that sunlight out. And this is basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of trying to highlight so it's better for us to see the individuals, whether I'm pulling exposure out or putting it in one way or the other. In certain instances during the clip, you change it about 15 times, but we can get a real good look at his face right here. This is it, right? He appears to have hair off the side, and I would say this is a pretty crisp hairline right here. You've got the eyes, They appear colorless, though you can see what appears to be a dot in there. We've got that modern human nose, and then this huge, basically, uh, primate type face, non-human primate type designed face. And the head isn't very high. It doesn't appear to be here anyway. It's possible it could be behind some of this stuff, whatever it is. I mean, they're obviously embedded in the environment here. But just looking at it, you get a good look at this guy and how big the upper lip is. You can see right in here, and that sun's hitting right on it. And I think this is a leaf, but there are these vines that hang, and the sun could be catching on those too. But the chrome thing on their face, I've seen this many times, and I actually watch for the glints. Sometimes you'll pick it up, and when you're out there in real time, there's the ultimate clarity right there, guys. That's your wild man. Now, the real question here is this one of the face on the chest types that has absolutely no neck? Is this, going across like this, or does he have, a big, hairdo coming up here? Because a lot of that is hairdo on these Sasquatch. We find in our images that the head is relatively human shaped but giant and wide, and then the hair is a buildup coming off the back of the head, the top and the back sloping up into a point. It's interesting. So behind here, is that what that is? Is that hair back here that's sloping up, or is this actually the skull line? It appears to be, and if it is, that puts this guy's lower jaw somewhere around his chest. Is that why they called them the face on the chest people? And you can see this big extended face here. It's interesting about researching Sasquatches. You see all kinds of footage, and you get to see what's going on, right? And so you see the fingers and over the mouth thing, and you get the eyeballs. When you're reviewing footage, you get all kinds of stuff, and it's your discernment how to use it in your research. But like literally, if you watch this, it's not rendered yet, so it's not going to play clear. But if you look, there are fingertips coming up, and if we scroll back and you watch in this area right here, you're going to see it looks like there's one back there. But again, this is all the bush and our camera's interpretation of the blending of light. It cannot separate the creatures from the environment, right? Unless the environment suddenly has clear light come through the trees somehow, and one of them sticks their face forward, and we get to see the little monkey boy with the big bald nose over here. You know what I mean? And we've got these little white creatures here. And the funny thing is I've been reading reports from South Africa. We can even see changes where fingertips are up by the face now over here. We got tips of fingers everywhere. We got something big right here. What I get questions about Dogman all the time, and this is like super blurry stuff, but this is the kind of stuff that I use to determine whether or not the white individuals here with this really light, gray skin are being seen, and where in the research they're being seen. This is clearly one, though it's blurry. I use it for research. This location is hot. That's the bottom line. They're lining the trails, and my researchers that are traveling through on hikes are, panning around in certain spots, feeling uncomfortable, and they're shooting footage, and they're very nervous, and they're catching these creatures on film. We've been reviewing them, but this is really a lot of the data that I have to use to get the information that gets you to the footage, like what we were reviewing earlier, up in the front part of the film here. If we, get to the very front, we can see in the breakdowns, there's a very big difference between the quality of footage that I'm looking at, where I'm reviewing the individuals that we broke down, and we've got Mr. really exactly what eyewitnesses are describing, peeking around whatever this is, small palm, I think is what this ends up being, or a branch that they're holding. It could be. There appears to be multiple individuals here, but this guy we broke down, and using the other end of the spectrum, uh, down in this area, uh, where we were just examining the fingertips and all this weird stuff coming in that's white. Okay, walking through the forest, it's very difficult to tell some of these tall ones from, like, here's the fingertips thing, right? We have a perfectly coned head. This is a perfectly coned head, man. Look at this. And then there are like these white tips, right? We got what represents basically a 5-finger hand, if I'm seeing it right, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4 tips, and then possibly a thumb down here, because this, to me, looks like probably the left hand. I think this could be the left hand here, and I think there's no doubt that we can see the garden troll statue head in here. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? I'm thinking that this guy's squinting really hard and smushing his face up like a prune, and he's got his hand up, and his buddies are all doing the same thing. But this footage is what gets us to this footage. And it's important to remember, when you're in the field researching, you got to go back and look at your data, because if you don't, then you're wasting valuable time and energy, walking around acting like they don't exist and there's no need. And I'll see one because I'm Superman. I'm different.